Now, while this situation has been unfolding worldwide, there have been some different reports around the capacity to pass on the coronavirus or to actually get the virus in a particular period of usually 0 to 14 days. We all know that people who are asymptomatic, that is, they have no symptoms, we have accepted that there's a period of somewhere between about 2 and 14 days to actually determine whether or not you actually do have the coronavirus. And so that reflects the science and the medicine, that it's a bit difficult to be precise. And we're also aware that with the return of students tomorrow to schools across New South Wales, and by that I mean primary schools, secondary schools, TAFEs, and preschools, that there has been some concern in the community about whether or not it's appropriate for those children who may have been in China to attend our schools. The Minister will have more to say on this, and the Minister of Education will have more to say on it at the moment, but can I say, as Health Minister here in New South Wales, the accepted advice, understood advice, from both the federal health authorities and the state health authorities is that there are no apparent risks to those children if they were to return to our school, or indeed to other children in the school. But this is one of those really difficult times when elected officials have to weigh up all the evidence, and this has not been easy. We have listened intently to the various medical experts and evidence, and in the end, as Minister for Health here and the Minister for Education, Sarah Mitchell, and I have come to the same view, and that is that we will be asking parents who may have holidayed with their children in China over the Christmas and our New Year period, if they have not yet been out of China for 14 days, then we're going to ask those parents, and I stress ask those parents, to do what everybody else has been doing so well in this difficult time, and that is to support the community by holding back your children from going to each one of those facilities. This is an extra step, and I'm going to just ask the Minister for Education to make comment about that, and then we'll ask the Chief Medical Officer to make comment, and the Secretary of Education, and then we're happy to take questions from anybody to any one of us. Minister, Mr. Mitchell.
Thank you, everyone. So, as the Minister for Health has said, we know that there is advice in relation to the measures that are in place that we've been giving to our principals and our families, but he and I are in complete agreement that to take this extra step as a precautionary measure to make sure that our children are safe in our schools and our early childhood facilities, we think it's the right one. We're asking parents to keep their children at home. We know that many in the community have been wanting to see this, and I think it's important that we are taking this as a precautionary measure in line with community sentiment, but also knowing that we're doing everything that we can, even though the risk is low, to ensure the safety of our children in that school environment.
Dr. Chand.
Thank you, Minister. I just might make a couple of comments, and I think it's following on from the Minister's comments about the incubation period. It is impossible to rule out the disease in the incubation period, so we urge people without symptoms, there is no use in going to your doctor or going to an emergency department for somehow a clearance. We cannot reassure you the period is an incubation period of up to 14 days, and what we're urging you to do is, if you develop symptoms in that period, please isolate yourself immediately, wear a surgical mask. We've given you those details of contacting your GP, your local ED, or ringing the Health Direct number so that we can get you diagnosed and tested as soon as possible. That's probably all I want to cover now, but happy to take questions later.
And the Secretary of Education, Mark Scott.
Thanks, Ministers. We expect that we'll have just strong cooperation from parents and our school communities as we ask for their engagement around this matter. I think if you look at it, the 14-day period will be well manageable for our schools. that means in effect that if a family has been travelling over the Christmas and New Year period but they were back in Australia by mid-January, those children will be able to go to schools. It's only those who've been travelling in the last fortnight in China that this will apply to. We've spoken to colleagues in the independent school sector and the Catholic school sector in New South Wales. Our expectation is the same advice will apply to students in those schools as applies in government schools, and also the same advice will be applied to early childhood education centres as well. We're calling on community engagement. We've had strong community goodwill around these matters. We think this will continue over coming days as this policy rolls out. And we expect that very quickly our school communities will engage with this request that's been made of them this afternoon.